Hello everyone, welcome to this wonderful day to our event MOMspiration. On the occasion of Mother's Day, we are hosting this event MOMspiration, which is organized by Disha Publication, co-organized by Frontlist and supported by Rotary International. I'm thankful for each one of you for being a part of this event. Now I'll introduce to our honorable panelists today. I'll start off with Mr. Avinash Agarwal, Director of Disha Publication, a Gen Z parent, study skills and habit coach for students, and a author of Topper Study Hack, Success Blueprint for Competitive Exams, and How to Raise a Topper. Avinash Agarwal has worked in the areas of monitoring over 15 years. It's such a pleasure for me to interview you, sir, today. You have been such an inspiration for people to become a topper in their life, to lead the path of success and walk someday through it. It's such a pleasure for us to have you here, sir. You're welcome here today.
Thank you.
Moving on, I have Mitali Jakatdar. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Can you please just enlighten me with
You can
that?
call me Supermom Mitali. No need.
I would love to call you that.
Yeah. Please.
So today we have our super mom Mitali with us. Mitali has over 10 years of experience in media, right from radio as a RJ to a television and an executive, a voice executive in a leading music channel 9XM. It's such a pleasure to have you here, ma'am. Ma'am has done an immense working experience in dubbing for animation and regional language films plus Hindi advertising. I can't even express my gratitude towards the fact and how honored I am to interviewing you today, ma'am. So for our lovely audience, we are moving forward to the questionnaire round which you all have been waiting for. The theme for the session today is learning X factor. I feel everybody has an X factor beneath us. It's just that we need to find it. So, sir, my first question to you is, what is meant by X factor to you?
So, X factor is something which makes you unique. X factor is something which you are passionate about. X factor is something wherein you lose track of time. Time passes like anything. You don't get tired. And one thing is that all of us have X factor. The another thing is that we all blossom at different stages. So if you have not found your X factor, then it is perfectly fine. I'm saying you are a late bloomer. And another thing which I want to highlight over here is that you don't have to really, go on the path of discovering your X factor. X factor lies inside us. And, it comes out, as I said, that everybody has got an X factor and it comes at different stages. So anything which makes you unique, anything which makes you, outstanding, anything which you can practice, anything which you can do with that, anything wherein you lose track of time, anything wherein you don't get tired, anything which you can do endlessly is your X factor. You can call it your X factor, you can call it your passion, or you can there can be different terminologies, but in crux, X factor is something which makes you unique and which you are very passionate about.
What a beautiful way, sir, you have defined X factor. Moving on, ma'am, I have the exact same question for you as well. What is X factor for you?
Okay, so there's a voice inside your head, right? So whenever you're doing anything, whenever you are having that chocolate or those fizzy drinks, or you're not going to a gym on a particular day, that voice inside you will tell you that, Mitali, you have to go to the gym. Mitali, you should not eat this chocolate. You should study. Why are you watching TV for so long? Sleep. That voice guides you towards your X factor.
So I have a question to you. What is your X factor?
My X factor would be communication. My X factor would be mentoring the students. Currently I am currently mentoring more than 15,000 students who are enrolled in my free mentorship program. And my X factor is helping students finding out their best. My X factor is, somewhere down the line, I observed that, I observed that there were a certain amount of students who were not only preparing, competing, but topping the examinations, and they were doing it almost effortlessly. Contrary to that, there were thousands of other students who, despite slogging day and night, despite giving their best, forget about topping, were not even able to clear the examination. So it was my X factor that I wanted to work and find out what is that which makes a topper different. कुछ तो ऐसा है जो टॉपर को पता है, जो और बच्चों को नहीं पता. कुछ तो ऐसा है जो वो कर रहे हैं और बच्चे नहीं कर रहे हैं. So, my X factor is mentorship. I run various recorded and live mentorship sessions, and I do most of them free of cost. And I really lose track of time. Sometimes, the sessions are of 60 minutes and we end up spending 2 hours, 3 hours with these students. So that is what I feel, helping students discover their passions. My X factor would also be to help India reach a 5 trillion economy. And the only way we can reach is by helping our youth, by empowering our youth. And education, there cannot be any other better tool to empowering the youth other than education. So that is what I feel would be my X factor.
I think you do such a noble work. I think educating somebody is just enlightening somebody, and you're just not educating them, you're helping them to reach their goals, to succeed their lives. I think that's such a noble act. Moving on. Moving on, ma'am, what is your X factor?
So I think there is not only one X factor in my life, but it has kept on changing, So when my kids were born, raising them and educating a lot of other parents about seamless parenting, not getting bogged down, not beating yourself up, and parenting in a very natural way. That was the X factor then. Then when I got in my dogs, raising dogs with my kids became the X factor. And these days I have like 200 plus plants. So gardening and zero, we lead a zero waste living. Like we don't have any dustbin at home. We are a completely zero dustbin household. So spreading this message out and reducing the consumption of plastic in our life is currently my X factor.
And ma'am, how do you raise 200 plants? How do you manage that? I really want to know. It's such a task.
So for that, you have to see my YouTube channel, but to
absolutely. After this,
you don't need to water your plants every day.
Really?
Overwatering is the main cause of death.
Now I know why my plants are dying.
Yeah. Water them every day.
Okay, so moving on. How can we identify X factor within a child?
So you want me to answer this?
Yes.
So I'll tell you, before we get on to this question, I would like to add certain more dimensions to the previous question, that what is X factor? If we go into the deep, X factor is when you are alive, you feel live, you feel kicking, you feel excited, you feel enthusiastic, you feel joyful. X factor is something when you are in a flow state. जैसे पानी बहता है ना, उस तरीके से आप फ्लो स्टेट में आ जाते हो. आपको किसी भी चीज का नहीं पता चलता, सब चीजें आपकी एकदम स्मूथ होती हैं. X factor is something when you are in a comfortable stage. X factor is something when you are consistent. Consistent means, what it means is that you can do it consistently over a period of time, over a period of months, or probably over a period of years. X factor doesn't mean that you can do something for 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours. Right. You should be able to do it. X factor is something which leads you to positivity and growth. You should see that X factor should lead you to growth. Now, how do you identify X factor within children? As I said, that everybody has got some or other X factor, and everybody is a different individual, and everybody blossoms at different stage. So obviously, we should not get too much worried about if we are not able to really find out. Yeah, but हम यही सोचने लग जाएं, मेरा X factor क्या है, मेरा X factor क्या है, I don't know. But one of the ways which I suggest and advise these students which they can use to find out their X factor is something what I call as journaling. something which makes journaling very unique, very, very powerful is that one, it is very easy to do. Second is that कि जो रोज की भागा दौड़ी होती है, जो रोज जिसमें हमारा mind जो है, it is always a meaning making machine, and it is already, there are too many thoughts which are coming in our mind. So when you get into the practice, or when you get into the habit of journaling, suddenly after some time, number of thoughts in your mind gets reduced and you keep on focusing. So agar aap journaling karte hain, that can be one very important and very powerful way of finding your X factor. Another powerful way of finding your X factor can be that you can go back, and you can go back to your childhood, and you can find out what are the activities, when was that you lost track of time, what were some of the things which you can do tirelessly, enthusiastically, excitedly all through your life. And you can find out such areas. But one word of caution which I like to highlight over here, and especially since this video is being watched by a lot of parents and students, we have to carefully differentiate between passion and profession.
Right.
When I speak to students, everybody says that he wants to become a footballer, cricketer, something like that. And when I say them that, can you play cricket all through your life, or do you really want to make career out of life? That is when they get confused. So any passion or any X factor, if it is accepted by word, and if the word is ready to pay for that, only then it can get converted into profession. So we should be very careful as parents and as students, that we should be able to differentiate between our passion, and can that passion be our career or our profession or not.
Right. Absolutely. I have no comment, because whatever you said, I absolutely relate to it.
Yeah, totally.
So, ma'am, if you have to, how would you identify how the fact that the child has this particular X factor in him or her?
So I think I'll talk for kids of 4 to 8-year-old, because my younger one is just turning 4 and my older one is 8. So I think I have experienced this stage.
Right.
So kids this young will not know what their passion is. They might just say that I'm interested in drawing, mama. When I grow up, I want to become XYZ. But they will, by the time they grow up, they are going to forget. So here we have to inculcate the X factor, which makes them different, or which makes them stand out from the regular crowd. Like we practice zero waste living, and we don't have any dustbins at home. So I'll just tell you an example. My daughter, when the online schooling was on, her teacher told her that we are doing a science experiment, and you have to get plastic straw and some balloons. So she told her sister that, ma'am, we are studying EVS, which is environmental science, and neither plastic straw nor balloons are good for the environment. So we should not go ahead and do this experiment. But the teacher was not so kind enough to understand. So she said, okay, you are not doing this project and you're getting a 0. And she said, it's okay if I get a 0, if it is better for the environment. It's okay if I don't mind getting a 0. And I think this was a very, very good learning experience for other kids. They might be wondering, ye kyun nahi la rahi hai? But then she later explained it to them that it's a single-use plastic. What is single-use plastic? How is it polluting the environment? So I think this is how we have developed the X factor. My kids, or for example, for any family who's practicing a zero waste life at home, are teaching so many things to their kids. So this will become an X factor which will always remain with them. They cannot go back to polluting the environment because they have seen it with their own eyes. How easy it is.
Absolutely. And that's so sweet. The little one is inculcating the good habits from the mother. As you said, I will surely believe that you are a super mother.
Thank you. And everyone can be, it's not that I am special.
No.
Every mom is a super mom.
Yeah, that's what I tell them. That's what I tell them.
Absolutely. Moving on, do children really need X factor to develop themselves? How does X factor affect children's academic performance? My question to you, sir.
So X factor is not something which stands out of the overall personality of the child. X factor is something which defines, which is the fulcrum of the personality of the child. I'll share with you a very, very interesting real life incident. It was 1990 when I was in class 12th. I was born and brought up in a small town, Modi Nagar, which is in Ghaziabad district. So I was the first student from my school to get selected in the Indian basketball team. I used to play India at the national and international level. And at the same point of time, when I was in class 12th, I was preparing for my engineering entrance exams also, because in 1990s, there were only two career options. Either you become an engineer or you become a doctor. So I was preparing for my engineering entrance examination. Now playing basketball for India required a lot of traveling and required a lot of traveling outside the city. So I sat along with my family and we decided that this is not the time to play basketball. This is the time to, build a career and concentrate on studies. And my parents logically convinced me, and I agreed to it because it made logical sense to me. And so I stopped playing basketball. But after a couple of days and after a couple of weeks, I realized that I was feeling sad. I realized I was feeling incomplete. I realized there was something missing in me. I realized that I was not as enthusiastic, as excited as I used to be. I always was, remained tired, anxious. At that point of time, I did not realize that probably, basketball was not only, my X factor, or was not only something which I enjoyed, but basketball actually gave me a lot of positive energy to, actively participate in other areas. So when I became a mentor, I realized that probably it was because I stopped playing basketball and because I immediately cut it off. So it started affecting my preparation and studies indirectly. Now, same thing happened with my daughter. It was 2018. My elder daughter was in class 12, and she was, it was June and July, and she came to me. She had taken humanities. She came to me and she said, Papa, I think I made a wrong career choice, and I'm realizing that, these subjects do not make sense to me. And I want to become a musician, and I want to become the best pianist in the world. She was learning piano since last 4 or 5 years. That was the time I realized that, this is the same mistake which I did. And, I fortunately was able to take the right decision. And what I suggested to my daughter was that if you want to become pianist, if becoming pianist is your calling, if becoming pianist is something which comes out of you internally, you do it. And what I suggested was that you spend 4 hours every day playing piano and 2 to 3 hours studying. And you would be surprised that all throughout the year, she cleared the graded examination, which is the toughest examination which is the toughest certification examination for piano. And she scored 95% marks in the board examination also. And now she's on a journey. She's on a journey of becoming the best pianist in the world. That is, so what I'm essentially trying to say is that X factor का मतलब X factor सिर्फ X factor नहीं है. X factor is like the root, is like the roots of a tree, or is like the trunk of the tree, or is like the roots of the tree on which the tree stands and withstands the wind. So X factor defines, no, academics is just a career, academics, job, money. These are only surface level concerns. These are only surface level concerns. If we are able to build positivity, if we are able to build confident, resilient child, they would be able to, किसी भी तरीके की चीज को झेल सकते हैं. So that is why I feel that X factor is something with which you express yourself. X factor is something with which you connect your feelings, your emotions, your personality with the word. And that is why I feel it makes a lot of difference, and it is very important. And academics is just a very, very small part.
Well, absolutely. What is your take on that, ma'am?
Can you repeat the question again?
Sure, absolutely. Do children really need X factor to develop themselves? How does X factor affect children's academic performance?
Okay. I think there is no need to have an X factor, like it's not that his child's development is hampered when they don't have an X factor, but a child with an X factor will always stand out amongst the crowd. And like sir said, everybody has an X factor. It is just that they still have to find it. Some people find it at a very later stage, and some kids, like, I just met a few of my daughter's friends, and as early as 8 and 9, they have opinions. So I think the current generation they have a very bright future ahead, because it's we that who are not shutting down their opinions, but we are also actually telling them to talk. What do you think? Such questions are asked. Whereas for us, it was like, okay, this is your school and you're going to go here. No questions asked because father has said so. But these days, we ask them to think. So I think that is how all the kids are developing an X factor, right at an early age, as early as 5 6. They have set opinions, and they also know, like sir said that his daughter is interested in piano. My daughter, who's 4 years old, says that she wants to become a musician. So I think, yeah, so I think these kids, because we ask them so many questions, and we ask them about, how did you like it? How did you not like it? Why? What do you think? I think their X factor is getting channeled very early, and they also in turn discover themselves. So it's not that X factor is compulsory, but it is a great thing if they do have it. And what was the second question?
Ma'am, how does X factor affect children's academic performance?
I think I am someone who believes, I would like to say, but sir has written a book in it that it is not important to be a topper. It is important to understand what you can top in. For example, if I am great in drawing and I take up maths as my career, obviously I'm going to fail. So it's important to know everyone is a topper, but what can you top in? And I think because we are enabling this generation by asking them questions, by asking them to form their opinions at a very early age, this is going to help them in academics, right? So I think, and also academic studies are changing. It's not that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 anymore. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is also 4, and 1 plus 3 is also 4. So I think developing this X factor in this kind of a situation or a scenario where our education is also evolving will definitely help them in academics.
Yeah, I'd like to just add one very, very interesting dimension to what you said. The book which I've written, how to raise a topper, the definition of topper is not limited to exams. The definition of topper is limited to life. Be it sport, be it cooking, be it musician, be it anything. How do you bring the best out of yourself? And you'd be surprised, Mitali, that when I was doing this and when I was writing and when I was speaking to, I've traveled to more than 200 cities across the country. I've spent a lot of time with, students who have done very well in sports as well as in academics. There were three factors which I discovered at the end of 5 years. There were three foundation stones, or there were three basic building blocks which differentiated an achiever from an ordinary student. One was mindset. If you have got a winner mindset, everything looks easy and interesting. Yes. Second thing was habit system. कि आप कितनी चीजों को कितनी consistently कर रहे हो. When you develop habit for something, you don't require motivation वो खत्म हो जाता वहीं पे. So second thing was the habit system. And the third very interesting thing which I discovered was the techniques. Now, if you apply these three principles, the mindset, the habits, and the technique. Even if you take the example, I spoke to this Neeraj Chopra who has won a gold medal. He said that it requires, first thing is that it requires extremely positive mindset that you can do it, you will do it. Second, it requires extensive practice, and for you to do that and for you to sustain that practice, it has to convert into your habit. And third thing is that how do you hold your javelin? In which direction the wind is flowing? Do you hold it softly? Do you hold it tightly? और अगर आपको दूसरे थ्रो के बाद गिरना है तो वो इंटेंशनल गिरना है ताकि आप एक्स्ट्रा पावर एक्सर्ट कर सके. It is all about techniques. So essentially what I have said in this book, How to Raise a Topper, is that there are three basic ingredients, be it exam, be it life, be it sport, be it music, be it anything in life. It is all about mindset. If we are, it is about habits and it is about techniques. I just thought that I would add that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So shall I move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's more important, hard skills or soft skills? Which influence X factor more?
So obviously, the answer to this question is obvious. Both these skills are important. Gone are the days when the marks on the mark sheet, defined that whether it is a success or failure. In today's world, to compete, you require skills like creativity, communication, collaboration, social skills, emotional skills, leadership skills. In fact, I would even go to the extent, and that is what I talk about in my mentorship programs, that before 2000 IQ was more important than EQ, which is emotional quotient. From 2000 till 2020, we used to say emotional quotient is as important as intelligent quotient, IQ. And in the post-COVID world, I would say that EQ is more important than IQ. I would say if you have skills like creativity, communication, social, leadership skills, and there cannot be a better examples than this on this than our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. I would say he can go and clean the streets of Varanasi, and he can go and shake hands with the most powerful person in the world, and he can do both these things with the same level of perfection, with the same level of confidence and same level of poisonous. So I think both the things are equally important. And, as I would again reiterate and sum it up in a way that, gone are the days wherein, in my time, when I was a child in 1990s, when we did, अच्छा और बुरा सिर्फ मार्क्स पे तय होता था. अगर मार्क्स अच्छे हैं तो सब कुछ अच्छा होता था. In 1990s I'm talking about. और मार्क्स अगर अच्छे नहीं हैं तो सब कुछ बेकार होता था. Nobody even used to talk about, उसके बारे में किसी और चीज की बात ही नहीं होती थी. So I would say both these skills are extremely important. One without another is of no use. They complement each other, something like this.
Ma'am, what's your take on that?
I think the answer lies in the question itself. Both are skills. So why would you not want a particular set of skills? If I have to choose between hard and soft, and if it is served to me on a platter, I'll choose all of them. Give me all the skills. So of course we need both to succeed in life. And also, there is a big difference between skills and God gifts. I think skills are something which you need to develop, but you should also recognize that what is your liking, right? Like my going back to my previous example, I was not at all very good in maths, but I was very good in writing. So if I would have just kept on doing maths, and I would have not succeeded in life. But because I chose the right mentors who told me that your writing is very good, go in that direction, I could develop those skills. So everybody is given hard, soft, whatever kind of skills. You just need to develop them.
Right. So moving on, we have reached the final question, everybody. Having X factor is very significant to stand out amongst others. How can we build X factor in children? My question to you, sir.
So I would answer it something like this, that, every child is a star. Every child can shine. Every child is a star and every child can shine. Everybody can be a topper. Everybody has got a story to tell and a lesson to learn. And, it is, as parents, it is our responsibility. As parents, it is our jimmedari to provide that level of exposure, to provide that platform, to provide that level to engage our kids in different activities, so that not only are they able to find out what is that they love doing, we can also observe that this is where the child loses track of time, and then subsequently we can motivate the kids. So in nutshell, my answer would be कि अगर हम एक चेयर भी खरीदते हैं तो 10 चेयर्स में बैठ के देखते हैं कि कौन सी चेयर पे हमें बैठने में कंफर्टेबल लग रहा है. You remember the example of Shah Rukh Khan when he was in that movie? I am missing out.
Tears in the
रियल जिंदगी की, जब चेयर पे भी बैठते हैं तो 10 चेयर पे बैठ के देखते हैं, तो you can't decide your career by default that my father, my parents, or my, everybody else is doing this, so I should do this. As parents, we should give flexibility. As parents, we should give the confidence and exposure to our kids to try out as many things as possible, and provide them a good platform to figure out what is that they want to do in their life, or what is their calling in life. That is the best thing which I feel, and that is the thing which I am doing. My younger son he's still not able to figure out what is his calling in life. He's still struggling. And as Mithali also pointed out, कि जिस बच्चे को पता चल जाता है कि उसका एक्स फैक्टर क्या है, उसकी लाइफ बहुत सॉर्ट आउट हो जाती है, बहुत सॉर्टेड हो जाती है, क्रूज मोड पे चला जाता है अपने आप, एवरीथिंग हैपेंस विद ईज, पढ़ाई में भी मजा आ रहा है, सब कुछ खुश भी हो रहा है। और जिस बच्चे को अनफॉर्चुनेटली एक्स फैक्टर अपना पता नहीं चल पाता, या स्ट्रगल करता रहता है, उसको पता ही नहीं कि क्या करना, वो इधर भी मेहनत कर रहा है, इसमें भी मन नहीं लग रहा, उधर भी मेहनत कर रहा है। सो एज पेरेंट्स, इफ यू कैन हेल्प आवर किड्स फाइंड आउट what is that they want to do in their life, there cannot be anything better than that. What I tell my daughter who has been able to figure out that आप लोग जो बच्चे ये फिगर आउट कर लेते हैं कि उनकी कॉलिंग क्या है, they are blessed. That life becomes so easy for them.
Right. So ma'am, what's your take on that?
The question is, can you develop the X factor, right? In a kid?
No ma'am, the question is, having an X factor is very significant and helps the child to stand out. How can we build an X factor in the children?
Okay. Yeah, I think I've answered this question previously also. So I would like to say that, like just like sir said, while raising a kid, we are not only thinking about, oh, I will make my kid a doctor, so it is this in this particular way that I'm talking to my kid. We are trying to give all that we can. My kids are young, so I tell my kids the importance of fitness, the importance of eating right, the importance of not consuming so many fizzy drinks, and not loading up on sugar, and also exercising, and also meeting their friends and having a good time, and also watching movies, at the same time studying. At the same time, they should also be interested in some kind of hobbies. They should also develop their arts, but they should also be studying. So, as a parent, we are telling them so many different things. Now it depends on the kid, what that kid picks up. But in today's scenario, I would like to tell this to everyone, sustainability as a value, not only because I am into zero waste and I'm preaching and stuff like that, but because there is no other planet that we could go to if this earth fails, right? Earth is the only planet that we are currently on, and we have not discovered any other earth. So it's our core responsibility to teach the value of sustainability to our future generation, because we'll be here for another 50-100 years, right? After that, it's their generation and it's their future generation who has to live on this planet. So we should tell them the importance of carbon emissions, the carbon footprint, and the plastic that we are consuming, and try to make our life as eco-friendly as possible. I think that is the most important X factor that we can help develop in our next generation. And as Howard has pointed out, sustainability as a value and as a factor will be considered the most important value while going anywhere, while getting a job, while starting a business, while getting funding or anything. So I think this point should reach out to a lot of parents, and they should also start thinking about the environment in their very own way. They can choose any kind of path.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you so much, sir, for being a part of our event today. And we wish you to see you back soon on our platform. And thank you so much. It was such an insightful session. I learned a lot of things. I hope our audience did too. And thank you so much for being here. Your final feedback, sir?
So everything has already been said, and then I would again say the same thing, that every child is a star, every child can shine, every child is a genius, every child has got an X factor. But as parents, we have to understand and appreciate and acknowledge the fact that every child blossoms at different stages. So we should not be anxious. We should always motivate. We should always show the right direction. And I would also, give a big round of applause to Supermom Mithali on the values of reduce, recycle, and reproduce to bring sustainability into our environment. It has inspired her talks, her opinion, her ideas have inspired me so much that probably I'll also try to practice a bit of it.
Of course.
I will do that. I'm
And you
inspired.
let me know if you need any help.
I will do that. And so that's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And ma'am, any takes that you have, any feedback?
I think, such platforms are where we can talk is so important because, in this real world where only reels are seen, I think somewhere we have lost touch with our communication. We are not talking so much. We are emoting and we are acting and we are pointing. So thank you so much, Disha Publications, for giving us this platform to talk. And I love talking.
And I wish next time we do it, we would keep a separate session on the importance of teaching sustainability to our next generation.
Why not? If you have any chance for me to talk on this topic, I'm going to jump in and talk because we believe that even if one household starts recycling and composting, it's millions of tons of waste which is saved from going to our landfills.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you so much, our audience. You've been a wonderful audience, and thank you so much, sir and ma'am.